Ivan Toney to West Ham deal has been really broken, and it looks like West Ham has gone ahead to join the queue of some clubs that would be interested in the services of Ivan Toney in the summer transfer window. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. Hope you guys are really doing fine. How are you? And this is the second video of the day being brought to you by Rokani David. David Moyes has come out and obviously spoken about Calvin Phillips and what is not really going on well with him at the club of West Ham. And lastly, we are going to have news coming in through from Man City about Kyle Walker's injury that has gone ahead to be confirmed, that he might even miss out on the most important game of Pep Guardiola this season, especially when he's taking on Real Madrid away at the Santiago Bernabeu. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name, and you can as well use my initials, that is RD. The Muslims, Ramadan Kareem, soon coming into Eid, and to the Christians, we obviously cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. It's a Wednesday, and we know it's match day, Premier League, match day 30th, that is it, and very many teams are going to be in action, and we are waiting to see how these teams will pan out. Aston Villa going to play away at Man City, and Luton Town is going to be playing away in London when they're facing on the side of Arsenal. So let's start it off with this story coming in through from the Football Insider that West Ham are edging closer to signing Brentford striker in a statement deal for the club. So I think you now understand what I told you, that Arsenal had gone ahead to pull out of the deal of Ivan Toney. I came up here and I really told you this story. I think like a month back, that's when I told you that Arsenal have gone ahead to pull out a deal of Ivan Toney. And the people they're really looking at are Gyökeres, who plays for Sporting Lisbon. There is Victor Osimhen. There is Vlahovic, and very many others. They're looking in for young superstars that can come through and obviously take them to the levels that they think that him should be on. So Ivan Toney to West Ham. Why is he going to West Ham? The answer is in the glass. When you look at Mikel Antonio, who has gone ahead to be the striker that David Moyes wants, and how physical he is, you easily understand how good this source is and how credible this news is. West Ham might be the ideal destination for Ivan Toney. Why? Arsenal is no longer interested. Chelsea not interested. Man United trying to obviously work out on the deal, but it looks like they're also going to look in for a striker who is going to really wanting to be an understudy for Rasmus Højlund. Yet I think Ivan Toney wouldn't like to be an understudy for Rasmus Højlund. He would like to go to a team where he's obviously going to be starting, and that team I think is West Ham. West Ham can really get him what he wants, and I know the Brentford side are really working hard to see to it that they know how much money they're going to sell this guy. And I know the reason that really went ahead to see to it that most teams really pull out of this deal is because of the amount of money that Brentford went ahead to put onto the head of this guy. How could you come out and say that he's a striker who is worth 80 to 100 million pounds? And when a manager speaks, that means he's speaking on behalf of the board. I can bring you up to speed. Last summer, but one in 2022, when David Moyes was asked on the price of Declan Rice, he says Declan Rice is worth 150 million pounds. All he said, between 100 and 150 million pounds. He said if we had gone ahead to really convince him to put pen to paper onto a longer contract at the side of West Ham, then would have gone ahead to sell him 150 million pounds. But because his contract is running down, he's a 100 million pound player. And how much did Arsenal buy that player? 105 million pounds. The other scenario is all about Mikhailo Modric. The sporting director of Shakhtar Donetsk said that if Antony costed 100 million euros from Ajax to Man United and is not really hitting the levels that Modric is hitting at in the Champions League, then that means Mikhailo Modric can go in for the same amount of money. Arsenal first made a bid of 50 million euros, rejected. They went to 70 million euros, got rejected. And by the time they reached 100 million euros, Chelsea had already gone ahead to come in through to knock onto the door to get this deal over the line. And guess how much this player was signed? 100 million euros or 86.5 million pounds by then. So when you hear a manager pronounce certain things, just know he's trying to speak for the board. And maybe the board of Brentford believe that this player is worth 100 million pounds, and I don't think he's worth it. They also came out and said that if at all Harry Kane, who is 30 years of age, went ahead to really cost 100 million plus, and he's 30, what of Ivan Toney, who is just 27 years of age? He still has some 4-5 years of his good career. That is it. And that's why they're telling you that it's going to be a statement signing, because it's not going to be an easy signing of this lad. It's not going to be any easy. I tell you, it's not going to be any easy. It's really going to be a hard way to sign him, because however much the player is left with 1 year on his contract, Brentford will want between 60 to 80 million pounds. And now, a team like Man United and Arsenal, you cannot tell them to obviously spend that amount of money on a player like Ivan Toney. However much you went ahead to obviously create an assist when they are dropping the mighty team of Man United at their side and hit the down post, that doesn't really best describe his quality. I don't think that in the modern era you can spend that amount of money onto a striker like that. If I tell you Man United, Arsenal, or Chelsea, there are very many other strikers who can go for 60, 70, 80 million pounds to see to it that they get in a player like that. But David Moyes, Mikel Antonio is 34. This season has been very injured. He doesn't want to obviously give Danny Ings a go, because he knows to it that he's not the striker he wants at West Ham. At West Ham, he wants a better striker, and he wants a physical striker with better attributes. And I think for Ivan Toney, he's a little bit more talented than Mikel Antonio. Antonio is all about his physicality, but you cannot really find out an outstanding character and talent in him. But for Ivan Toney, he can come in through and obviously give them the best they want. And for Ivan Toney, if United, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea are really snapping you, West Ham are really a very good destination, because I know they're going to be playing the UEFA Europa League next season, because they are 7th, and the 6th and 7th teams will go to the UEFA Europa League. So if you want to really fight for your England and national team slot, you have to see to it that you really qualify for Europe and you play West Ham. For you. And West Ham will be a much more deadly team if at all they keep their players. If they have Lucas Paqueta, Mohamed Kudus, Gerard Bowen, and Ivan Toney leading the line, it will be a different scenario of game of football altogether, because they'll be having a player or a striker who can really get them 20 goals this season. If at all he adds his 20 to the 20 that Gerard Bowen is yet to score this season, because he's having 15 in the Premier League, and he might obviously see himself hit that magical number, then he is the ideal striker for them. He really fits the style of play of West Ham, and I think it will be a very good deal that West Ham would have wanted to get themselves, and they want to really get it done as soon as possible. So wait and see how that pans out. But Ivan Toney is a deal that is going to happen very soon, and who is obviously clinching the deal? It's none other than West Ham, because they believe he's the kind of striker they need to sign, because they went ahead and signed, is it Scamanka, and he came here and obviously flopped and went back to Italy. So it looks like they really want to bring in more and more competent players. Let's go to Man City, and then we're going to cross back to London a little bit. Pep Guardiola, as he addressed the press conference of Man City versus Aston Villa, he said the doctor said that Kyle Walker will not be able to play against Man City, but Kyle Walker, and he has special genetics. The doctor said it was quite serious, so he cannot play against Aston Villa. That is it. And he cannot obviously find himself playing against Real Madrid in their first tie. So that means he's going to be out for some long time. But the manager believes he has some special genetics that can obviously force him back on the field of play. And you saw to it that their style of play was so much affected when they're playing against Arsenal. They lacked Kyle Walker because they couldn't commit a lot, as they never had their speed merchant. Kyle Walker, to me, is a speed merchant. He's one of the fastest right backs I've gonna hit to see in the world, and he's gonna hit to track out very many players and stopped them into scoring against their side. So the manager is a little bit worried because of what his side had to obviously go through when they're playing against Arsenal. Against Aston Villa, with the speed merchants of Leon Bailey, Moussa Diaby being on the pitch, and Oli Watkins, they're also going to be missing that player. But I know they stand a better chance to obviously win that beautiful game of football that is going to be played down there. So for my case, I really understand that he's a very good player and is a dependable. That's why when Bayern Munich was coming in for him, Man City did all what it was in their reach to convince this player to stay, and they even made him the captain of Man City. So it shows you how important he is onto the style of play of Pep Guardiola, and it was like they're keeping him around. So when he's really injured, you get to know that it's really one of the worst memories that you'll ever want to get in here onto the Rokani Media Football. So Kyle Walker is out for the game of Aston Villa tonight, and it's expected that he's not even going to feature in the first leg as they play away at the Bernabeu, to see it that they climax it at the Etihad. Maybe you'll have to return onto that game. But the likes of Ederson expected to return today, and John Stone is also expected to obviously be part of the City side to take on a team called Aston Villa. And lastly, let's go back to London and David Moyes talking about a player that was loaned to him from Man City, that is Calvin Phillips. He has gone here to say that Calvin Phillips is a human being. What he needs is support and people to help him. We will support Calvin. He's a really good player, and I believe we can still make something out of the time we've got with him here. Calvin Phillips is a very good player, loaned to West Ham. In the 2 consecutive games when he started, he costed his side twice. So he's having something that's not okay with him, but David Moyes is really telling us that he wants to obviously turn him into the player he was at Leeds United. But it's really going to take some time, and maybe they might even find themselves really selling this player at a certain price. So Calvin Phillips for me is a player I've gone ahead to love, but the setback he got at Man City went ahead to affect his career, because there was no way he was going to get into that team that had Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan, and Rodri. No way he could get into that team, and really played very few games. And at West Ham, he's really doing the needful to put in the shift. So wait and see how that pans out. And I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about Ivan Toney to West Ham transfer soon happening. I welcome in the comment section below. What do you make about Pep Guardiola confirming to us that his player Kyle Walker is really out of the encounter of Aston Villa, and he might miss out in the first leg as they play away at Real Madrid? And lastly, what do you make about Calvin Phillips, as his manager of West Ham, David Moyes, has come out obviously defend him? May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokani David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later, and continue to subscribe because we want to hit 20,700, because we've already gonna hit 20,600 subscribers, and let's make it a point that before the end of this week we hit 21,000 subscribers. I'm out. Bye bye.